Live from the Ball State News Center, this is NewsLink Indiana in high definition.
Good evening and welcome to NewsLink Indiana. I'm Tony Sandleben.
And I'm Peter Hoffman. Thanks for joining us. If you're a Ball State student, your digital footprint is now being noted by university officials. The new tool is a program called Rapid Insight. One way that the information is collected is through the swipes of Ball State ID cards. The data is being used to make sure that at-risk students, such as freshmen and those coming from low-income families, graduate in 4 years. If a student skips class or has midterm deficiencies, the university will know. The program can also be used to see if students are in clubs and organizations on campus, and also if they are attending campus programs.
Universities will now be rated on who is offering the best value beginning at the start of the next school year. According to the U.S. Department of Education, the rating system has not been fully developed yet. However, it will include categories such as access, affordability, and outcomes. President Obama first announced the plan in August of 2013 to help students compare colleges. The DOE says the rating system could help students who have a hard time paying for post-secondary education by encouraging states to help pay for public colleges based on performance in the classroom.
And a Ball State campaign has raised $20.6 million for intercollegiate athletics at the university. The funds will go toward new facilities for men's and women's golf, volleyball, and basketball. A new football complex will also be built. A goal of $20 million was announced in April of 2013. About 1,200 alumni and former student athletes contributed to the campaign. The Ball State Alumni Association then included a $300,000 matching gift.
Microsoft Office is now free for students here at Ball State. NewsLink Indiana's Bree Isom reports.
Want to get the latest edition of Microsoft Office, but don't want to spend the whopping $200 to $300? Well, don't dig too deep into your wallets because Ball State is now offering free Microsoft Office on all and any devices. I know this may seem annoying and a little late since we already had to purchase the expensive Microsoft back in the fall, but hopefully this will offset the expensive cost of books. Just stop by the Technology Center in Bracken Library and ask for free Microsoft Office. Students are only eligible for one free package. If you still don't want to go through the trouble of walking down to the Technology Center, Microsoft Office is available on all Ball State devices.
Peter, that Microsoft being free really does open up some opportunities for a lot of people, as I haven't been able to get it. I've been using Open Office, which has actually caused some issues for some of my classes, for sure.
Well, that sounds like a you problem, but it might get fixed, which is great.
It could get fixed, for sure. But in the meantime, some interesting weather we've been having today, for sure. Lots of snow, lots of pretty wet areas. What do you think about that?
It's been interesting, Tony, and for all that and more, we will go now to our weather desk with Adam DeYoung. Adam?
Definitely currently outside, 21 degrees with those winds out of the southeast at 5 miles per hour. And it's definitely a little bit on the chilly side if you're going out this evening. Looking at satellite radar, you see that we have a large storm brewing out on the East Coast, making weather headlines all across the nation. Closer to home, you can see that the snow showers are continuing to penetrate the area here in Indiana, but coming up in the full forecast, we're going to talk more about when the next chance of precipitation returns, how temperatures are going to stabilize over the next couple days, and we're tracking a colder weekend for the weekend forecast.
All right, and coming up, starting in February, you can get news from a new agency run by Governor Mike Pence.
And you've heard of dog bites man, but have you heard of woman bites man? Stay tuned after the break for the story.
From the Ball State News Center, you're watching NewsLink Indiana in high definition.
Governor Mike Pence says he is starting a state-run news service. It is to write and provide news stories about Indiana government to Hoosier newspapers and other news outlets. It would also be competing with them. The information service will be called Just In. It already has a website. The news service will crank out stories written by press secretaries within the Pence administration. Now, some professional journalists are very anxious to see how objective the information service will be. This news comes as Pence continues to consider running for president in 2016. Just In is expected to be launched by the end of next month.
The Secret Service says a low-flying drone crashed onto the White House grounds today. The incident caused security concerns and a lockdown. Barbara Starr reports.
At first light, Secret Service personnel walked the White House lawn. This is the 2-foot wide drone they found. The Secret Service said an individual called them early Monday to report flying the drone that crashed on the White House grounds. All indications are the incident occurred as a result of recreational use of the device, authorities said. The president's spokesman was all about calm.
A device that has been recovered by the Secret Service at the White House. The early indications are that it does not pose any sort of ongoing threat right now to anybody at the White House.
But there are security issues.
This is a really big deal, regardless of what anyone in the arena is saying.
It was 3:08 a.m. when a uniformed Secret Service officer on the south grounds of the White House complex heard and saw a so-called quadcopter device. It was flying at a very low altitude and ultimately crashed on the southeast side of the White House complex. The White House was immediately placed on lockdown until the device was examined and an all-clear sounded. This was just the latest security breach. In September, an Army veteran jumped the fence and got into the East Room of the White House before being tackled. In November 2011, a man fired a semi-automatic rifle at the mansion. Drones like these are widely available commercially, but all airborne traffic over Washington, D.C. is banned unless a flight plan is filed and it's under FAA control. Authorities have been struggling for months on how to integrate drones into U.S. airspace so they don't interfere with commercial air traffic or cause a security threat. What if it carried explosives? Shooting a drone down? Not practical.
You're in a residential and commercial area in downtown D.C., so that eliminates that possibility.
What about jamming the drone radio signal?
The only way to mitigate the threat from a drone carrying a camera or an explosive is to attack it on the RF side, the radio frequency side, which actually guides the drone.
A Newcastle woman has been sentenced to 30 months in prison for biting a police officer on the leg. According to the Star Press, 43-year-old Angela D. Riley was arrested last September after she caused a disturbance outside a Kroger store and police were called. The bite wound suffered by the officer required hospital treatment and caused further concern for the victim because Riley had tested positive for hepatitis. Riley will be given the opportunity to go through a treatment program for substance abusers during her time in jail.
A Muncie man is suing a local nail salon after he says he received a life-threatening infection during a pedicure in June of 2003. Bruce Walters was joining his wife at T-Nails on Tillotson Avenue for a pedicure when he claims to have left with a bacterial infection that nearly took not only his leg, but also his life. The lawsuit states that a T-Nails employee placed an instrument underneath the big toe of Walters and gouged his toe, breaking the skin. The owner of T-Nails, Tim Vo, was not available for comment.
An inmate's death that occurred in the Delaware County Jail has been formally declared a suicide. Ashley Lee Myers led police on a car and then foot chase and was arrested back in late October. There were warrants out for his arrest following a child support case. Now at the jail, the 31-year-old used an article of clothing to hang himself. A blood test later showed Myers had ingested a potentially lethal amount of methamphetamine, and a urine test revealed signs of heroin use. 2 corrections officers have resigned in the wake of the suicide.
And spring break is just 33 days away. For our quick question, NewsLink Indiana's Caitlin Ewing went around and asked about people how they feel with NewsLink being so soon.
With spring break and less than a month away and the controversy of how early it is, I decided to venture out onto Ball State's campus to find out what the students had to say.
I think Ball State's spring break is a little bit too early just because it's not even going to be warm outside. It's the end of February and all of my friends have it the end of March and I never get to see them, so it just sucks. And then as of right now I have no spring break plans, but I would love to travel somewhere warm, maybe hit a beach or something.
No, I don't like the fact that spring break is so early because it's really cold and I would like it to be much warmer. And my plans are basically to just hang out with family and friends, see people I haven't seen in a long time.
I really don't like how early spring break is because a lot of my other friends are going places and I'd like to join them. But because we're going so early, I can't go with them and I'm going to be stuck at my hometown all by myself and it's not a lot of fun.
In Muncie, Caitlin Ewing, NewsLink, Indiana.
All right, thank you, Caitlin. It is interesting that spring break is so early in the year. It's really technically not even spring if you think about it.
Still very chilly, Tony. Your plans? I'm assuming there's some big plans for the Sandlebens.
Well, actually, my plan is to go to Connecticut. Believe it or not, I'm going to go check out ESPN First Take.
Okay.
So that'll be an interesting time for my family for sure. What about you?
Going down to some spring training sites down in Florida, the Grapefruit League with a Ball State group here, so it should be a good time.
You're going to the ever so popular spring break destination of the state of Florida.
Yeah, just college kids running rampant. So.
Can't blame you for that one. Well, coming up in NewsLink Indiana weather, the Northeast is bracing for what could be a historic blizzard affecting millions of people.
And it may be time to bring your snow boots and long johns back out here in Muncie. We'll find out after the break.
Well, the New England states and parts of southern Canada are bracing for what many say is no ordinary winter storm. Over 2 feet of snow and hurricane-force winds are expected in areas around Massachusetts. 3 feet of snow could fall in both New York City and Boston. New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio has warned residents that the storm is most likely one of the largest snowstorms in the history of the city. All flights to and from the region have already been canceled, and travel bans have already been set in place in Rhode Island, New York, Massachusetts, and Connecticut. The travel ban in New York begins tonight at 11. An estimated 58 million people will be affected by the storm. New York State has over 1,800 snow plows and 125,000 tons of salt to spray on the roads.
It wasn't that bad out here today in the Midwest. I mean, they got dumped on up there up east.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, we certainly have some snowfall around here, but luckily the temperatures haven't been too bad and kind of melting down a little bit as hopefully that'll continue with a warm up here. Nathan DeYoung, what do you got for us?
Indeed, the snow is beginning to melt. If you were out today, you would notice that some of that ice that formed on the roadway began that melting process, leading to have some drier conditions on the roadways. Looking at our last 14 hours at our live view outside, you'll notice that the pavement was wet this morning and has dried out. So currently we are at 21 degrees with those cloudy skies. It feels like 15 when you factor in those winds out of the southeast at 5 miles per hour. Today, actually, right now, the current temperatures all across the state of Indiana are pretty close to today's highs. Terre Haute, 27 degrees, 28 in Lafayette, and just chilly temperatures overall. So if you're going out, make sure you take a jacket. Highs today were 25 in Kokomo, 23 right here in Muncie, 30 degrees in Bloomington. Looking at satellite radar over the last 6 hours, you'll notice that the snow showers out in western Indiana have been moving through. These aren't going to reach east central Indiana right away, but there is a possibility that we could see a dusting of snow this evening. Precision cast is showing 9 o'clock tonight into our daytime tomorrow. You'll notice that Tuesday at 8 o'clock in the morning, those clouds are going to still continue to be here, but could move on. So how much snow could we expect for tonight in terms of a dusting? Well, exactly it. Just a dusting tonight is what Precision Cast is indicating. Tonight, 16 degrees is our low with that dusting possible with those cloudy skies and a northeast wind at 5 miles per hour. Let's jump back to Precision Cast and look at Tuesday at 2 o'clock. And notice that those clouds are going to continue to move out of the area, leading to having some sunny skies for us and actually a warming trend for the next couple days. Wednesday, 9 a.m., still clear. Tomorrow's high, 25 degrees with those north winds at 8 miles per hour. Cloudy start, clearing skies in the afternoon, leading to an overall beautiful day. 7-day forecast looking pretty good. We're tracking your next chance of precipitation on Thursday, where we can see some rain, yet turning into some snow that evening into Friday. You'll notice right over here on Sunday, we're tracking another chance of some snow flurries, 60%, and then Monday into your forecast, colder temperatures, and it's going to get chilly.
Nathan, we appreciate that. Hopefully, as we said, the warmer weather starts to come, but like you mentioned, a little bit dicey, that classic Indiana weather is going to come. So, Tony, I know you're looking for some more rays of sunshine for yourself.
Oh, I would love some more rays of sunshine. Absolutely. Cannot get enough of some wonderful sunlight. Thank you very much, Nathan. And coming up in NewsLink Sports, we recap the busy weekend by Mid-American Conference.
And the men's volleyball team suffered its first loss of the season. All that and more. Stay with us after the break.
From the Ball State News Center, you're watching NewsLink Indiana in high definition.
Welcome back. I'm Robert Connett with sports. Over the weekend, the Ball State basketball teams were in Mid-American Conference action at Worthen Arena for a doubleheader. Unfortunately, both the men's and the women's teams did not have the result that they were looking for. For the men's team, they were led by freshman Sean Sellers. In the first half, he's able to split some defenders, lay it in for the layup. He can hit the mid-range jumper as well, as you'll see in the video. Sean Sellers having a great freshman year at Ball State. Here on Saturday, he finished with 16 points and 6 rebounds. Bo Calhoun had a good game as well. For the second straight contest, he was in double digits as he finished with 12 points on Saturday. But the Ball State offense was not enough to match up with Kent State, as Matt Kamenecki, he was out for the game due to a back injury. And because of Matt Kamenecki out, the defensive presence was not there for the Cards, and the Golden Flashes were able to have a good game with 36 points inside the paint, as you see Kamenecki there on the bench. And the Kent State Golden Flashes beat Ball State by a score of 63-52.
It's for us to get a stay consumed in the process. We're the same team 3 games ago that, had great confidence. We're going to be like every team. It's easy to lose it when things don't go well. And the way we're going to get it back is come up with a really good performance.
With their 4th straight loss, the men's basketball team drops to 7-10 on the season. They are now 2-4 in the MAC. They'll play at Akron tomorrow night. The second game on Saturday featured the women's team taking on one of the best teams in the Mid-American Conference, that being the Ohio Bobcats. After trailing by just 3 at halftime, Ball State found themselves down 45-30 in the second half, but a 16-0 run, 8 of those points coming from Mariah Monaco, sparked the Cards to a 1-point lead with 7 minutes remaining in the game. But the Bobcats answered back strong in the final minutes, going up by 6 with 2:36 left, and they go on to defeat Ball State 60-53. Ball State was led by Natalie Fontaine with 18 points. Jill Morrison had 12, and Mariah Monaco finished with 11. With the loss, the women's team is now back to 500 as they have a 9-9 overall record. They are now 5-2 in the MAC. They'll travel to Miami, Ohio on Wednesday night. The Ball State men's volleyball team ranked 14th in the nation, also in action over the weekend with not 1 but 2 matches on the road. Friday night, the number 14 Cardinals traveled to Harvard to take on the Crimson. That's from Harvard, and it was the Ivy League school picking up the win in 3 straight sets, 25-19, 25-14, 25-17, the final. It was Ball State's first loss of the season, while Harvard got their first win. Freshman Matt Walsh led the Cards with 7 kills on 16 attempts. The Cards were able to get back to their winning ways, though, on Saturday night as they swept Sacred Heart 25-22, 25-18, 25-11. Martin Nemcheski had 10 kills for the Cards, while Matt Sutherland had 7 kills and had a 700 attack percentage. On the defensive end, Ball State held Sacred Heart to a negative hitting percentage, and the Cards had 23 blocks. After the weekend split, the men's volleyball team is now 5-1 on the year. They will return to Worthen Arena this coming weekend as the Cards will host Quincy on Friday and Lindenwood on Saturday. Finally, tonight in the NBA, the Golden State Warriors announced that they will have new uniforms to celebrate the Chinese New Year. The uniforms will feature the team's logo, only it's written in Mandarin and red and gold colors instead of the team's blue and gold colors. With this being the year of the goat, the creature will be on the sleeve of their jersey. The Warriors will first wear the Chinese jerseys on February 20th, and the team says it will wear 3 more times throughout the remainder of the season. The team says they are commemorating the Chinese New Year because the popularity of the sport being an all-time high in China. So it'll be interesting, guys, to see those Chinese uniforms in the NBA with Golden State.
Yeah, absolutely. Not something you see every day for sure. Kind of an interesting take on things, especially the reason behind it. Celebrating the Chinese New Year, definitely a new twist there for sure.
Putting a growing interest internationally. So not a terrible move by the NBA there. Interesting, to say the least.
Absolutely. Well, coming up after the break, NewsLink Entertainment brings us the winner of the Miss Universe pageant.
And Hermione Granger is getting a Disney princess makeover. Details after the break.
From the Ball State News Center, you're watching NewsLink Indiana in high definition.
Welcome back to NewsLink Indiana. I'm Lindsay Ross with your entertainment news. Last night, Miss Columbia Paulina Vega was crowned Miss Universe 2015. The crowning marked the end of the 18-day pageant that consisted of 88 women from around the world. Vega's victory left her with a cash prize, a New York apartment, and a one-year scholarship. Other women who placed among the top were first runner-up Miss USA and second runner-up Miss Ukraine. The competition was the 63rd annual Miss Universe to be held. Melissa Rivers is taking legal action against Yorksville Endoscopy Clinic. The clinic is where Joan Rivers, Melissa's mother, received an endoscopy last September and later died. Rivers' attorney further reported that she is suing the doctor who treated her mother as well. Rivers said reasoning behind her decision is to make sure that other people do not go through what she experienced. Joan Rivers died September 4th, 2014 from a brain damage after she stopped breathing during her surgery. She was 81 years old.
Thank you very much, Lindsay. And let's have one final look at weather.
Definitely. Temperatures are going to stay a little bit colder on the cold side. Tomorrow's high, 25 degrees, so definitely bring that jacket if you're headed out to class. Otherwise, we're tracking colder temperatures for your weekend.
All right, thank you very much, Nathan. And that is all for tonight for NewsLink Indiana. Be sure to watch tomorrow night at 9 p.m. right here on Cardinal Vision.
Don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Have a good night. That was good. I still feel terrible, man.